So what if the government actually recovered a crashed UFO? It's the ultimate what if question, right? Well, today we're diving deep into a document that claims to be the answer. We're talking about a supposed presidential briefing that lays out a top secret committee, recovered alien bodies, and a cover-up that goes all the way to the top. Right off the bat, from the very first page, the message is loud and clear. This isn't just classified, it's stamped top secret, eyes only. Now, you have to understand, that classification is for stuff so sensitive that if it got out, it could cause, and I quote, exceptionally grave damage to national security. It's basically a giant warning sign that says what you're about to read is meant for an incredibly small, very exclusive club. And who was in that club? Well, according to this, it was prepared for just one person, the President-elect Dwight D. Eisenhower. Can you just imagine that? You're about to become the most powerful person on the planet, and someone slides this folder across the desk to you. It immediately tells you that whatever is inside is of monumental importance. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this thing. The document is dated November 18th, 1952. It's set up as a preliminary briefing for Ike before he takes office, and the guy tasked with delivering this bombshell? None other than Admiral Roscoe Hillencutter, who just happened to be the very first director of the CIA. Yeah, that tells you just how serious this was meant to be. And they are not messing around with the rules here. This warning is just, wow. It's such a stark reminder of the culture of secrecy back then. Think about it. Information so explosive, you're not even allowed to take notes. The only record was supposed to be in your head. So, a top-secret briefing for the president-elect, hand-delivered by the head of the CIA. What on earth could justify that level of secrecy? Well, according to this document, the whole story starts 5 years earlier, with a crash. A crash in the New Mexico desert during the summer of 1947, an event that, as we all know, would become the stuff of legend. The document throws us right back to that fateful summer of '47. It all kicks off on June 24th, when a civilian pilot sighting sparks a national UFO frenzy. But then, just a couple of weeks later, the real story supposedly happens. A disc-shaped craft goes down in the New Mexico desert. And by July 7th, a highly secret military operation is already on the ground, scrambling to recover every last piece. Okay, so you've recovered a flying saucer. What do you tell the public? According to this briefing, you tell them nothing. The document says a very effective cover story was quickly fed to the press. It was just a weather balloon. A simple, boring, believable explanation designed to make the whole thing just go away. But see, this wasn't just about bagging a piece of mystery tech. This is where the story pivots and becomes something else entirely. Something truly mind-bending. Because according to this briefing, the recovery team, they didn't just find wreckage. They found the pilots. And all of a sudden, this isn't just a technological secret anymore. It's a biological one. And the implications, well, they were just staggering. And the document gets chillingly specific. It claims 4 small, human-like beings were found about 2 miles from the main crash site. They hadn't made it. The report says they were ejected from the craft and had been out in the harsh desert elements for about a week. They were deceased and already badly decomposed. So how do you even begin to classify something like that? Well, the scientific team did what scientific teams do. They came up with a name, Extra-terrestrial Biological Entities, EBEs for short. It's such a clinical, almost sterile term for something so profound, isn't it? It's the sound of bureaucracy trying to put the impossible into a neat little box, noting only that their evolutionary path was, quote, quite different from our own. Okay, a crashed alien ship, dead alien pilots. If this is real, it's the biggest secret in human history. So what's the next play? How does a government even begin to contain a secret that big? The answer, this document says, was to create something new. An ultra-secret committee with almost absolute power. Operation Majestic 12 was born. And just look at this lineup. I mean, this was the absolute A-team of the post-war American government. You've got the first ever CIA director handling intelligence, the Secretary of Defense, top Air Force generals, the nation's leading scientists. This wasn't some subcommittee. This was the government mobilizing its heaviest hitters to manage an unbelievable secret.
And the authority for all this, where did it come from? According to the briefing, it came directly from the Oval Office. A memo from President Truman himself, dated September 24, 1947, is what allegedly gave the group its official name and its marching orders. This wasn't some rogue outfit. This was sanctioned at the very, very top, accountable only to the president.
So, the secret was locked down tight. The next huge challenge was the analysis. What was this thing they found? Where did it come from? And, the real big one, why was it here? As the document makes pretty clear, even with the physical evidence in hand, the answers were disturbingly hard to find. You have to put yourself in the shoes of a scientist in 1947. The analysis of this wreckage was just baffling. They figured it was a short-range recon craft, but it had no wings, no propellers, no jets, no wiring or vacuum tubes. It even had a form of writing on it that nobody could decipher. It was, in a word, totally alien. So the next obvious question is, where did it come from? And that sparked a huge debate inside the group. Was it from our own solar system? The document says Mars was definitely considered a possibility. But other scientists, including a really prominent astronomer named Dr. Menzel, they were arguing for something way more staggering, that this craft and its pilots were truly interstellar, from a whole other solar system. And that brings us to what might be the single most unsettling sentence in this entire briefing. After 5 years of studying this thing, the document just flatly states that the motives and ultimate intentions of these visitors remained completely unknown. That uncertainty, that's the real national security threat. And the problem wasn't exactly going away. By 1952, when this briefing was written, the document warns Eisenhower that there's been a, quote, significant upsurge in sightings. So the group was unanimous. They had to keep the lid on this thing to prevent worldwide panic. But, and this is a really fascinating detail, they also had a contingency plan ready to go, a plan for what to do if the biggest secret in the world ever got out. And that's where the briefing just ends. It leaves us with this massive hanging question. This document, whether it's an incredibly elaborate hoax or a world-changing truth, is dated 1952. If any of its claims are real, it means this secret has been kept not just for 5 years, but for over 70. What does that kind of sustained secrecy say about what else we might not know?